Previously on Higurashi When They Cry console arcs.
内調が乗り出してきたとなれば、もはや国家レベルの政治的判断がこの件には関わっていることになる。その影響力は君も前の事件でよく分かっているだろう。
ええ。ですが、ちょっと待ってください。カノさん、今何とおっしゃいました？
え？この件も前の事件と同じように政治的判断が働いて。
You mean the kidnapping during the dam protests?
違います。その前です。今、内調とお聞きしましたが。
Oh, wait a minute. It's what Tomoe was saying before she died. That cabinet office.
まあ、内閣調査室の略称だよ。英語名ではキャビネットインテリジェンス&リサーチオフィス。略してシロとも呼ぶがね。君も知っているだろう？
I knew it. It was an acronym that frequently came up during work. But I couldn't make the connection because they didn't seem to have any relevance to this investigation. However...
南警部は救急隊員に漏らしていた言葉です。白と内調。
Every time I fulfilled my duties as a public security official, I felt a little more of the sadness and helplessness in the world. First off, who do the police even work for? The public? The country? Or some powerful person? Even though I realized absolute justice was a naive illusion, I devoted myself to working in the name of justice and allowing people to live in peace. Nothing would shake that. And no matter what obstacles were in the way, even if I was forced to take a detour, I did my best to carry it through to the end, because I believed that doing the right thing was its own reward. And yet, what does it mean to be a detective in the wake of this unbelievably hopeless situation?
君吉夏美が普段から服用していたのが抗興奮系、抗精神伝達系の薬だって話でしたよね。だとしたら、その薬を服用するようになってから、いや、服用するようになったからこそ、彼女は性格が一変したということではないでしょうか。
はあ？それはどういう？
つまりです。彼女の症状は貧血症ではなく失神だったのではという話です。
They're often confused, but the root cause might have been a mental problem instead of anemia. There is a mental phenomenon that can cause the mind to flip the breaker and shut off consciousness. For example, when a person feels violent urges, instinct can fill a person's mind with destructive desires and murderous intent, but the rational part of the brain can recognize that action as improper and try to suppress it. And as people grow older, the rational part of the brain is strong enough to overpower their instinct, so most adults are able to avoid taking impulsive actions. However, what if the subject was going through adolescence, and the rational part of the brain wasn't mature enough to handle it? Detective Fujita gave me an overview of the incident. The victim, Chisayo Seiki, arrived at the hospital around 2 p.m. with her driver, Yamashina. She said she had plans to meet up with her father and intended to wait in the lobby until her scheduled meeting time. A few minutes later, the victim remembered something and said, "I'll come back later," to Yamashina, then left the hospital alone. After their scheduled meeting time passed, Yamashina thought it was suspicious that she hadn't come back even after her father arrived, so he searched the surrounding area. Then, he found the victim bleeding from her head on the ground in the garden by the Seiki Care and Welfare Center. He immediately brought her to the hospital and called the police.
あなたは君吉夏美さんの事情を どの程度ご存知ですか？言いたくない気持ちはよくわかります。私だってこの件でたくさんの人に関わって多くの惨劇を目の当たりにしてきました。そのせいで自分が多くの人に不幸をもたらしているのではないかと疑って恐れ、中途で調査をやめるべきではないかと。ですが聞いてください。あなたのご友人夏美さんはまだ生きています。死者はどうあっても帰ってこないが、生きている人ならまだ救うことができるはずなんです。違いますか？私が望むのは彼女の逮捕じゃない、彼女を救うことなんです。それだけは信じてください。
柿内署の全車両に通達。緊急配備。全捜査員は佐伯総合病院で起きた傷害事件の容疑者君吉夏美の身柄の捜索と確保に回れ。繰り返す。
The siren of the police car flashed red and made a tumultuous racket.
君吉作に捜査員を派遣。君吉夏美を発見の場合は任意同行による実施を強く推奨せよ。抵抗の場合においても容疑者が未成年であることを配慮して逮捕は極力控えろとの通達。全捜査員は留意せよ。
こちら藤田社、命令了解。直ちに現場へと向かう。
Ushi remained silent as he crushed his cigarette under his foot. Then he slowly turned to face Akira. Originally, he came here intending to provoke Natsumi Kimiyoshi and press her for answers. But she just hid inside her shell, so he didn't understand. In that case, persuading her for information was pointless. He had no choice but to draw out a confession, but that would be near impossible if she was unwilling to forgive him. In that case, maybe her transformation could be controlled by speaking of her friends.
そうだな。あるいはこの子なら彼女も耳を傾けるかもしれない。
Those expectations buried in the bottom of his heart, Ushi decided to tell him the truth.
それではお話ししましょう。これはあなたが君吉夏美さんにとって大事なお友達だと見込んだからです。いいですか？
はい。
Ushi lit a second cigarette. After a full inhale and exhale, he looked up at Akira and started speaking.
我々は事件の裏を疑うからこそ調査し、真実を知ろうと動いているのです。あなたとは違います。こっちは真剣なんですよ。
Akira finally raised his head, as if repelled. Ushi was no longer smiling. He was casting a stern glare that felt like it was admonishing the boy.
違いますかね。なぜならあなたはただ疑うだけだ。彼女を信じる勇気もなく、真実を知ろうと努力もせず、ただ逃げているだけ。私にはそう見えるんですがね。どうです？
俺は逃げてなんか。
では逆にあなたにお伺いします。あの子のこと、本当に助けたいと思っているんですか？
どういう意味ですか？
つまりはこういうことです。最初に確認したってことは、人を殺すようなイカれた連中と君吉夏美が同類だったらどうしようかと、最初に予防線を張ったわけだ。あの子のことを心配していると口では言いながらも、その点については目をそらしている。それであなたは彼女のことを本当に理解しようとしているって言えるんですかね？
Akira finally recognized his own cowardly and selfish attitude on the matter, and began to shiver. When Ushi got in touch with Madoka, she rushed into her urgent message without wasting any time on a greeting. Then he immediately hung up the receiver. And then he leapt out of the phone booth with enough momentum to kick a door down and chased after Akira without waiting for a police car.
たたられてるのか私は。ことごとく裏面出ちまって。
He had intended to prevent a tragedy, but the situation was rapidly escalating in ways that Ushi couldn't imagine. As things are now, Akira is in serious danger. He couldn't bear to see another young person lose their life due to his own actions. As Ushi muttered to himself, he constantly wished for that earnest boy's safety, and he continued running as hard as he could. And so it continues. No. Maybe I can be surprised a little bit today. Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. Saturday, July 2nd, 1983. Kimiyoshi House. Looking at it in hindsight, earlier, when Todo-kun saw the decorations covering my entire house, I lost something inside me. Todo-kun acted like he cared about me and said, "See you at school." Then went home and acted like nothing was wrong. But for a moment, he looked up at those decorations and had a look of disbelief written across his face. That image was burned into my eyes and wouldn't leave me. Even before the disaster, I was feeling irritated with Grandma. What is this curse? What is Orishiro-sama? Mom would always talk to her about it first, so I was able to keep quiet. But I definitely felt a hatred deeper than I ever said. I don't believe in gods in the first place. Gods seem to give men trials and watch from the sidelines, like it's a game to them. But that sounds more like the work of a demon to me. In fact, giving people the impression of a happy future, then taking it away at the last minute, sounds more like the work of a con artist. Is that wrong? Should I not think of it that way? Only if you want to be really pessimistic about it, sure. Then prove it. If you believe you'll be rewarded for your patience, I want you to show me some legitimate proof. Well, even if somebody did, would you even accept it as such? Yes, for all the screaming I do in my heart, I've never seen any sort of divine blessing. That's why I decided that gods don't exist. After all, it wasn't a god that rescued me from my disgusting environment back then. It was because they admitted me to the hospital. That, and the strange medicine they gave me from somewhere, were able to free me from my suffering. Since I began taking it, my heavy emotions have gotten lighter. Before then, I was frustrated by everything except myself. It made me feel unpleasant, and it pained me to get involved with anyone. But thanks to that medicine, those dark, depressing feelings gradually diminished, and the obnoxious voices around me began to feel less unpleasant. So, I continued taking that medicine like my parents recommended, taking it several times every day. That was what the people somewhere decided was best. But the medicine was incredibly effective, so I began taking it any time I started to have dark feelings. And thankfully, there were no side effects. But right after the huge disaster, the supply of medicine suddenly cut off. So, from then on, I had to be more careful about choosing the best times to use it. And I gradually began to feel a lingering dread. You know, I don't remember you using this medicine ever coming up in the previous arc at all. So I'm sure I voiced confusion about this a couple episodes ago before as well, but I still can't help but wonder, why were we not given... Why, if I'm actually remembering these events right from the previous arc, then why were we not given a single allusion to this medication until now? Until this arc? Especially in regards to Natsumi. Since, seeing as how, you know, she's one of our main leads in these, in some of these arcs. She's one of the characters whose perspectives that we follow around the most. So, you would think that something this important would have, at least in passing, even just once, have been mentioned somewhere. But it's not until the second arc featuring her that it is. Like, I don't know. Doesn't it feel kind of lazy to any of you guys? I mean, I don't know if that's even the right word to use here, but it just feels kind of... It feels like something that should have been alluded to in some capacity in the last arc. Again, assuming I'm remembering crap right. I want to think I am, but who knows? Anyway, so... From then on, I had to be more careful about choosing the best times to use it. And I gradually began to feel a lingering dread. Because, ever since then, I've heard a voice talking to me inside my head. And no matter how upset I get with it, that voice just won't go away. It's so annoying. It makes me feel more and more irritable. So, every time I took the medicine, it made that voice go away. But, one day, after Totokun saw the weird decorations on my house, when I came inside to take off my shoes feeling depressed, that voice spoke to me more directly.
いい加減にしてよ。あなたは一体何なの？答えてよ。
What's wrong, Natsumi? You're frightened.
みんなといる時も、一人でいる時も関係なく、いつも私に話しかけてきて、なのに返事をしても、あなたは笑ってばっかりだ。用がないなら、私に近づかないでよ。笑うな。イライラする。それに、あなたは誰？一体誰なの？
Huh? You're asking that now? I thought you already knew.
知らない。あなたなんか、私は知らない。勝手なこと言って、私を惑わせないで。もう、どっか行ってよ。
That's a lie. You really do know. You've already realized. But you don't want to know, is that it? So you're pretending you don't. Right?
そんなことない。私は...
Hey, Natsumi. Is it so hard to see your true self?
何を?
Because you really have an aggressive personality, don't you? Letting it out is better than keeping it locked inside. Giving a beating is better than taking a beating. Making someone cry is better than crying yourself. And, rather than being killed, killing is... Huh? Am I wrong? If that's the case, I'll leave right here. Are you okay with that? Are you? You can hide your thoughts forever. Let them accumulate. Wait it out. And keep on struggling to breathe until you die. It's your choice. That might be a nice way to go. But are you really okay with that? Even if it means losing the things most precious to you. Totokun seemed really shocked earlier. Would it be alright to hate him for that? Of course, I know. That doesn't sound good at all. After thinking about it so hard, it finally got through to you. You've always longed for his affection, and you were hoping to become a couple, right? Right? Isn't that so? Aren't you at your happiest when you can communicate your thoughts to him? In that case, you can talk about anything.
そうだよ。失いたくない。東堂くんは私の。
Right? I understand how you feel, Natsumi. But thanks to that crazy old hag, everyone is looking at you differently. Tough luck. Your love ends here. Are you satisfied with that? That's impossible, right?
できない。できるもんか。あんなせいで。
Right! That's it! That's the right feeling. Doesn't that feel better? This dark voice in her head is rather cartoonish in its villainy, I'm not gonna lie. Kinda cringy. Even by visual novel and anime standards, but I don't know. Maybe for some reason, this thing is just standing out to me in a unique way that doesn't quite make sense to me. Either way, I'm kind of annoyed by it. It thinks it's hot shit, when it's not. So Natsumi, I suggest you ignore it. Nobody knows the pain you keep hidden. Nobody understands. Then, why endure it? Maybe someday the gods will be watching over you and grant your wish. Is that what you believe?
そんなわけあるか。神様なんて私をちっとも。
Good. Use your aggressive feelings. Let the hate flow through you.
Yeah, that's it. If that's the case, then it's simple for me to help you. Okay, listen carefully. You'll get a phone call from Mom soon. Nothing special about it. It's her regular call. When Mom finishes her errands, she always calls home. And when she calls, you can tell her about the old hag. Yes, while crying. That's important, okay? Then, the old hag will hear and start to feel worried, so she'll come talk to you. And then, from behind, or from the side, you can suddenly emerge to make her turn around. So, she'll be so surprised to suddenly hear your voice, she'll accidentally lose her grip, and unfortunately, she'll fall down. Then, she'll coincidentally smack her head against the furniture that stood in her path, and regrettably end up dying. Sound good? You only have one chance. If you miss this opportunity, you'll have to be patient, because you can try this once a day. So, please be careful, okay? Nobody will know. Nobody will blame you. Nobody would believe someone as pure as you would commit a murder. It felt like a foreign body had entered my eardrum. Like something was crawling around behind my ear.
負けるもんか。
Please don't. It's for everybody's own good. Yours especially. Even now, that person continues reciting those weird prayers to a god I don't believe in. without even a care for how much trouble and unhappiness it inflicts upon us. Right. Nobody can rely on that. Don't ask for help. No matter how much that person trembles in fear, I don't think I can refuse this, so I'll continue to leave it unleashed. Abandoning my pursuit of happiness would be a cowardly way of giving in. But this will be the end. I can grab hold of that happiness. Grabbing hold... Natsumi. A form of happiness that requires you to murder the people closest to you just for... Well, I guess I wouldn't call these inconveniences slight in the grand scheme of things, but murdering the people closest to you in this fashion, just the act of doing that for reasons such as these, is not only misguided, it's just going to end up causing much more pain for yourself and everyone around you in the long run. You ain't gonna be happy after everything's all said and done. When the walls finally close in, and you're forced to confront your own sins. I won't give in. Even if I'm alone in the end, I won't give in. I won't let go of the happiness I've grabbed hold of. Then don't. Don't jeopardize it. I won't give in. I won't give in. I won't give in. I won't give in! Right. That person is not the grandma I know. It's an ugly, filthy, non-human creature. She looks like she's trying to blend in here, sitting in this house with that unpleasant look on her face. Disgusting, filthy thing! Disappear, 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 disappear! Look closely, Natsumi Kimiyoshi. Clear your mind, open your eyes, and look at that person. That person taken on the appearance of Grandma as your enemy. Her body was taken over. She's an enemy now. So, you need to drag that person out as soon as possible and return everyone to their original form. Only you can do it, Natsumi. Come on! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! With the whispers in the back of my ear encouraging me to deal with that person quickly, I built up more and more of a sense of duty to the cause. I see. I'll give you more than that. I'll never forgive the people who destroy my happiness. When I entered that person's room, the smell of incense was in the air, and that person was muttering something toward the altar. When that person noticed me, she gently raised her head and looked back, looking at me in the eyes with a gentle expression. Don't look at me!
Natsumi-chan, どうしたんだい?
The time has come. Rather than resorting to brute force, you choose to talk to me in that soothing voice. Imitating Grandma's voice. How insolent! It seems like you're trying to distract me, but sorry. I've already seen your true identity, so I won't be fooled any longer.
Natsumi-chan!
Turning on my heels, I left the room. My heart ached for a moment over what I was about to do. You know, it's just now occurring to me. You really are the one who killed Aki in this timeline, aren't you? So rather than your parents and your grandma losing their collective minds before you do, and killing each other, this time around you're the first person to crack. and your parents are trying to protect you. And to do that, they put Aki's body in the mountains. Am I right? Is that what's going on right in this particular arc? If that's the case, then I guess thinking back to that case about the... I'm already forgetting her. It's the other family that was briefly talked about in one of those police reports. With the suspect Aoi, the girl who survived that supposed family murder-suicide, where they were speculating that she was the true culprit. I can't help but wonder, was that particular bit of the story subtle foreshadowing to a big revelation that we may or may not be seeing right this minute? Namely, that Natsumi killed her grandmother, and she is thus and she's basically the main instigator of the conflict of her own in her own house this time around, so to speak. My heart ached for a moment over what I was about to do, but that wasn't Grandma in front of me. It was that person wearing Grandma's skin. So, I made up my mind. It was time to act. It'll only take a few minutes. I just need to muster a little courage. Behind me, I could hear the sound of clinking beads as the prayers began again.
これのかむ床に祝い祭り沈め祭る。かけまくもかしこみお社の狼。これのかむ床に祝い祭り沈め祭る。
You all right there, Grandma? Your voice lowered a couple dozen octaves. Shut up. That's enough. Casting those terrible spells is making the whole house feel unnatural. Like the song a snake charmer uses to coax a serpent from a vase, bringing that person into this house. But like usual, that person continued stupidly offering those devout prayers to Urashiro-sama. At this point, with the anger on the verge of bursting from my chest, I no longer felt merciful. Hoping to cut off that harsh sound, I closed the door to the living room behind me. It almost sounds like she's speaking in slow-mo, but somehow speaking at normal speed at the same time. It's kind of funny to listen to, actually. I'm sorry. It's funny. It sounds funny to me. This is really killing the tension for me. A little bit, not gonna lie. Please stop. Nonetheless, I could still clearly hear the voice of that person muttering those prayers. Hearing that sound, something suddenly snapped inside me and became unleashed. The next moment, the phone began to ring. Based on timing, it had to be Mom.
Hi. Natsumi? お母さんだけど。
It's coming. Despite crying tears of relief, a smile spilled across my lips. Now, Dance, Mom. Just the way I planned.
お母さん。私。
夏美、どうしたの？泣いてるの？何があったの？夏美？
おばあちゃんが変な飾りと同じだよ。
まさか、うちってうちの？
どうしよう見られちゃうよ。他の人に変なうちだって思われて。
Hey, Grandma, did you hear that? What I said over the phone? As soon as you notice, you'll come over here, right? And then, that person will leave the room. Good. This is it! Now, come over here!
夏美、逃げなさい。
Just then, on the other end of the phone, Mom tried to warn me of the impending danger.
おかしいの。みんなおかしいのよ。うちだけじゃなく、親戚のお年寄りがみんな。だから逃げなさい、夏美。早く。
Whoa! Amazing! Amazing, Mom! That was an excellent line. Nice setup! The way you always smiled at me was such an eyesore, but now you're great, Mom. This is such a perfect setup for a justifiable self-defense claim! And the preparations are complete. Now, I just need to wait for that person to come closer.
夏美ちゃん。
Come to me, like a fish following the bait. Come here, without suspecting a thing! Incredible. This is incredible. Everything is going as planned, isn't it? Then, fearing I might jeopardize the operation, I hung up the receiver. I feared that if I kept going, I might let out a laugh.
夏美ちゃん。
Now, it was getting closer. That person made a racket as they slowly came up the hallway behind me.
もう大丈夫だからね。だから泣かないでね。
Standing 5 meters away. 4, 3.
大丈夫だから安心してね。
2, 1. Just a little more. Come quickly. And on my neck. I felt an uncomfortable breath and turned back.
夏美ちゃん。
おばあちゃん。
Before pushing her down, I double-checked the preparations.
バイバイ。
I took the initiative and swung my arms. That person immediately fell silent, and I looked down with a surprisingly cold heart. As I gazed into the darkness, I saw the silhouette of that person. Even when I closed my eyes, that image was burned into the back of my eyelids. It was unbelievable. It was incredibly surprising that the plan went out exactly as intended. Oh, Lord. So for the past few episodes, you have been a murderer walking, and I had not the slightest clue. Nor does anyone else. In other words, it's as I feared. Well, not quite. It didn't play out quite the way I expected it to, but the end result is ultimately the same as I feared it would be. That being, she's fucked. She's fucked everything up for herself. She's done something that there is absolutely no coming back from. She actually killed her grandmother. In her state of frenzied madness. It sounds kind of stupid putting it like that, but in her frenzy, she actually went and did it. She's doomed. There's no way. She's doomed. She's not getting a happy ending. And there's going to be a whole lot of collateral damage for everybody else around her in the process. And the most funny part of all is that this whole endeavor to stop her from doing just this sort of thing was already doomed long before anybody even realized it. Not gonna lie, when we do get to the inevitable outcome that is clearly coming our way, and I get to see how everybody has to deal with the fallout, her friends, her family, Akira, etc., etc., I'm gonna feel awfully bad for them. Natsumi, you stupid freaking kid. I know you haven't been in your right mind ever since the pills stopped coming. And you've been forced to ration your supply of your meds, but still, I can't help, but I still can't. A part of me still can't help but feel like you should have fought with your inner demons just a little bit harder. Just a little bit. I'm not trying to blame her for something that she's had no control over. That's not my intention, but at the same time, despite her mental instability, I don't know. I feel like she wasn't so far gone enough at this point to where she couldn't have fought off that desire, but she just gave into it because she was desperate to be accepted by Akira. And in her desperation to not face any rejection from him, she just gleefully jumped off the deep end, so to speak. Barely even put up much of a fight because of that one overriding desire. Anyway, I should shut up and just keep going. I can save some of these thoughts for later. Grandma hit a bad spot, and now is the end of it. Then, when Mom and Dad came home and found me crying, neither of them blamed me at all. Now, it's not over yet. From now on, I need to keep playing the part of Natsumi Kimiyoshi. Right. That's right. The true identity of that person was a demon. So, this was a demon extermination.
Natsumi! 何をする気だ?
I dragged Grandma's corpse into the bathroom. And I dragged Dad's wooden toolbox from the back room in, too. From there, I pulled out the appropriate tool, and the odor encircled the area. An extraordinary stagnant air. I couldn't help but vomit. No good. I won't let that slow me down. I'm absolutely going to grab hold of that happiness!
Natsumi? わかってるよね。お父さんもお母さんも、このままじゃ、私たち幸せになれないって。
I looked back at the two of them, panting in terror, and said that with a smile on my face.
高校生の女の子が祖母を殺害。もし新聞に載ったら、お父さんは失業だね。お母さんも友達がいなくなって、親戚からも絶縁で村には帰れない。あ、もうガス災害でほとんどいないか。ね。
あんた、自分の言ってること分かってるの？
Unfortunately, she really doesn't. She's lost her fucking mind.
そうだぞ、夏美。そんな、お前。
分かってるよ。親戚みんなへの見栄で進学校に通わせて、毎日私を勉強漬けにさせたお母さん。出世に響くから、私の入院の理由を貧血症にしてごまかしたお父さん。私、何か間違ってる？
Yes.
それは。
Right. Since I began elementary school, I was forced into studying every night. I was always told you should be studying, not playing, so without a proper experience playing with friends, I had difficulties talking with other people. And thanks to that, my heart grew strained, hardened, and torn apart. Then, I was finally hospitalized and subjected to various unpleasant medications, and forced into these tedious counseling sessions. And once I finally got better, it seemed like things would get a little easier. But you used it as an excuse to transfer me to a cram school. Of course, the two of you haven't thought about it at all. And even as struggle, I crawl up from the depths of hell. You don't understand that you did this yourselves. Pushing me on without my consent. Forcing more and more responsibility on me, even though you kept running away!
どうしたの二人とも。顔が真っ青だよ。私のやってるのは、二人がやってきたことと同じなんだから。だから全然おかしくない。そうだよね。二人とも、私のためにやってくれてたんだもんね。
夏美。
Mom and Dad stared at me like they were looking at a completely different person, and trembled in astonishment. We need to hide Grandma somewhere before anyone can see her. Because if the body is gone, then there is no crime. I had to rid this house of the demon living inside. I had to cleanse it. Right? I'm not mistaken, am I?
はい、お母さん。手伝ってくれるよね。
The family should work together to protect the family's happiness. Right? You don't want to lose the precious life you've built up in the city, do you?
ハルコ、お前まで何をしてるんだ?
Dad raised his voice. Mom stopped moving her hands for a moment to mutter at him.
鬼退治だから。
I seriously can't believe that they're going along with this. Instead of, I don't know, fucking restraining her, calling the police, anything, to get the situation under control rather than just contributing to the mess even more. She gave in. She bent to my will. But even though she said those beautiful words, will she really keep her word in the end? How strange. You're all so strange. Why are you so weak? Can your heads only turn so far? That's fine. You don't have to think about anything. I'll take care of everything! Ah, I heard that. Mom's heavy breathing and Dad's sobbing. Yes, this is an unfortunate accident. So for the two of them, it's more than just losing a family member. It's a reminder of how terrifyingly close death lurks. After that, Dad drove us somewhere deep in the mountains that nobody would ever find. Or so you thought. And at last, the demon was removed from our house. Oh, Lord. What a goddamn mess this is all turned into. Saturday, July 9th, 1983. Thanks to that obnoxious detective earlier today, my complexion has turned pale, and I've been feeling completely depressed. But I was able to talk to Tokun along the way, so that was one benefit. Well, given the way things played out, he probably didn't learn anything about me. Well, unfortunately for you, he's learned everything that he needs to know. Now, whether he's going to survive what he's about to try to do, well, I'd say it's just I say it's a matter of a coin toss at this point. That relief and fleeting peace was shattered to pieces by a news bulletin flowing out of the TV when I came home.
本日正午過ぎ、岐阜県山中の県道で女性の遺体が発見されました。
Oh, wait a minute, that's right. This is the current day. It's the current day before Kira's had that talk with Fushi. So that talk hasn't happened yet, but it's going to.
年齢は70歳から90歳。現在警察では
In a dimly lit dining room, Mom and Dad were gazing at a TV screen as if they wanted to devour it. Based on the apples and knives on the table, they were probably in the middle of peeling fruit. But neither of them had their hands on it, and their faces were despondent and blue, with a look of despair. So, they found it, Natsumi. They found your handiwork. And you were so certain that nobody ever would. What's the plan now? Oh, fuck off, you spam caller.
どういうこと？
夏美。
They must not have noticed my return. Dad looked back with a shocked expression. After that terse greeting, I walked in front of the TV and stared intently at the screen. Elderly woman, aged between 70 and 90 years old. Considering the timing, there was no room for doubt. How did they find it so quickly? Anyway, there was no point regretting it in hindsight. You will be soon enough. Unless you die before then. But what should we do now? I don't know, you're the criminal mastermind, you tell me. The next moment,
Natsumi.
Dad broke the silence and called out to me.
Natsumi. 自首しよう。
Hey! Turn ourselves in now? After all the measures we've taken to avoid doing that? What an idiotic thing to suggest! No, wait a minute. Maybe... Dad, did you?
お父さん。
夏美、警察に行って罪を償おう。お父さんもついていくから。
どうして？やっと元の生活に戻れたのに。鬼はいなくなったのに。
Lies. Lies that you tell yourself every night when you stare at the bathroom mirror before going to sleep.
なんで幸せをぶち壊すようなこと言うの？お父さん。
すまない。私はわざと目につきやすい場所におばあちゃんを置いてきたんだ。
Of course. I was wondering about that. Well, is it still commendable that it took them a week to find it? Even so, your heart is weak.
私は早くこの悪夢から目覚めたい。その一心で。もうこれ以上罪を重ねることに私は耐えられないんだ。きちんとおばあちゃんが成仏できるように私たちは罪を償わなければならないと思う。
Safeguard your neck, whatever you do, because your wife went for it in the last arc, and your daughter might go for it in this arc too.
あなた。
As Mom began bursting into tears, Dad put his arms around her shoulders. Staring at the two of them caused something to well up from the bottom of my heart.
そんな。何もかもうまくいってたのに。幸せな日々を取り戻せると思ったのに。お母さんとお父さん、二人して台無しにするつもりなの？
夏美、目を覚ましなさい。現実を受け止めるんだ。
嫌だよ。そんなの嫌。
The next moment, after I finished crying out, another thought came to me. Yes, I've already killed one person. Even if that escalated to 2 or 3 people, would that really change anything? Yes? It wouldn't change anything, right? Even as things are now, if I'm caught, I won't be able to go back to my old life. You're not living your old life right now, you delusional little twit. And avoiding capture would be impossible. Then, what should I do? Hit the reset button? When you know a novel is leading to a miserable ending, can you just stop reading partway through and declare that the bad ending doesn't exist? Yeah, well, unfortunately for you, this whole journey that you're on is being controlled by yours truly, and I intend to see this arc reach its most logical extreme conclusion. However it ends up turning out. So, too bad for you. Yes, this is fine. Hinamizawa was the reason I dirtied my hands with this crime in the first place. If I have to murder my entire family, I just need to remind myself how Mom and Dad locked me in a cramped cage to suit their ego. They're terrible people. So are you at this point. Hey, that's a good enough reason, isn't it? So, I'm not a bad person. Yes, you are. Dad is the one in the wrong here. No, he's not. And besides, are these people really thinking of me and my best interests here?
Yes, 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 yes.
And then, Dad put his hands on my shoulders and shook his head. Then with a merciless expression, he said to me,
Natsumi, お前が殺したんだ。あんなに優しかったおばあちゃんを。
No, he's not.
夏美、お前が殺した。
Ah, I see. If you were really trying to protect me, you wouldn't have intentionally left the body somewhere easy to find, right? So, this is a trap. You were planning to hand me over to the police from the beginning, and just trying to protect yourselves! How impertinent. How filthy these adults are! These are my parents! And a parent's job is to keep their kids from doing something life-threateningly stupid to themselves and other people. Unfortunately, they're a little too late on the on preventing you from doing that sort of thing in the case of your grandma. But like good parents who actually give even a semblance of a shit for their child, I would hope that they would do everything in their power to keep you from killing anybody else, which they clearly are trying to do. So good on them! Seriously, good on them! I'm not like that. I'm not like that. I'm not a bad person. You keep telling yourself that, sweetie. I'm not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad.
Natsumi.
Natsumi?
Mom and Dad were glaring at me with a gaze that pierced through my entire body. The two of them surrounded me to cut off my escape, and their eyes glistened as they continued glaring at me, looking down at me like something detestable. Then, the moment I turned my gaze downward, I saw Mom and Dad's shadows moving closer along the tatami mat. And on the heads of those shadows, I saw two sharp, protruding horns. That's it. That's it! These people are not my mom and dad. These are demons trying to take away my happiness! The fear drove me to vomit. I felt a burning pain in the back of my throat. There's a demon in my body. A demon devouring my heart. I think that's probably the most accurate thing that you've said within the past 30 minutes.
Natsumi.
Dad seemed terrified as he looked at my current state. Don't fall for it. I had lost my voice. My throat was so dry, I couldn't even breathe. The pain felt like my eyes were about to pop out.
Natsumi!
As I stood up, I grabbed a hold of the fruit knife behind my back. Exterminate them. I'll exterminate every single demon living in this house. As soon as possible. Because that will allow me to regain my original happiness. Okay, good luck paying rent and utilities and food, groceries, and all the other weekly to monthly expenses. All on top of going to school, studying, and prepping for college. Yeah, you're totally going to be able to pull all this off on your own. right after murdering your entire family. Because you are incredible. You're a demon hunter. You have what it takes. You have the sheer stupid determination to just do whatever you need to do to regain your happiness, and no non-existent god on earth is gonna be able to stop you. Right? This kid, this ordinary but peaceful family of 4, my precious friends from cram school, Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan, and my beloved Toto-kun, looking at me with that gentle gaze. To regain everything, I'll get rid of these demons with my own hands.
何をお前一体どうしたんだ
What am I doing? This is a demon extermination, right? So disappear! I looked at the expression of disbelief on Dad's face as I pierced his defenseless throat with the fruit knife in a single stroke. What did I say about safeguarding your throat? God damn it, man! Come on! Dad only managed to let out a single hoarse sound before falling to the floor. Dead. He was always a quiet person, even in the end.
来ないで
Then Mom scurried away into the living room, and I followed behind her. Mom's eyes were opened wide, and she trembled as she inched back.
どうして逃げるの
Mom screamed as she made to escape, but at best, she could only keep crawling.
お母さんは私の味方だよね
Her legs were tangled around each other, but Mom didn't stop her retreat. The tatami mats rustled and creaked underfoot.
鬼がまだいる音がする退治しなきゃ退治しなきゃ鬼が
The demon is you, sweetheart. I rushed over to Mom as she tried to escape, and raised the weapon in my hand overhead. I heard a chime off in the distance. The spider in the back of my ear crawled forth to shield me from the sound. Trying to shake off these annoying sounds, I repeated and repeated many, many times. And every time, the blood splattered up onto my hands and down to the floor. Suddenly, the sound ceased. Keeping the fruit knife held tight, I climbed over the pool of blood. The pure red pedicure on the toes of my bare feet blended together with the blood covering the tatami mat. Now, even looking at Mom and Dad's bodies lying on the floor, I didn't feel anything. Because the creatures lying in front of me were not my parents. A demon wearing Dad's skin, and a demon wearing Mom's skin. They were demons! The demons have been exterminated. Oh no, there is one left in that house. And you can find it by looking in the nearest reflective surface. I strongly suggest that you exterminate that one with extreme prejudice. And with this, my everyday happiness will return to me. I won. I win, she says, as she's tumbling down a very steep mountain. And I didn't rely on anyone. I did it with my own strength! Oh shit. The next moment, I suddenly looked down. And in the blood-stained fruit knife, I saw Totokun's reflection. I lowered my face and wiped away the blood, then turned back slowly. Then, on the other side of the ransacked room, I saw Totokun standing there with a dumbfounded expression, completely lost for words.
Kimiyoshi. お前。
Well, Natsumi, do you still feel like a winner?
私
You feeling particularly happy right now? I got up and walked closer to Totokun. His face quickly lost all his spirit as he gazed at me with unfocused eyes. And when I saw myself reflected in his eyes, I was at a loss for words. Are those two horns on my head? Is that it? There's still a demon here. There's another demon inside this house. And the last demon is me? Ding, 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 ding. No. No! I don't want to see it. I don't want to believe it. That I'm a demon, and only Totokun knows.
東堂くん、私のこと好きだよね。
As I muttered that, I grabbed a vase sitting in the shrine. And while Totokun continued staring in bewilderment, I immediately swung it down on him. Before my eyes, Totokun began to bleed from his head and collapsed to the ground. Ushi! Get your ass over here!
ああ。ついにやっちゃったね、夏美。
Oh yeah, I agree. You've definitely done it. You've done it several times over now, as a matter of fact. 3 times in rapid succession. As I stood there quietly, the other me spoke to me and laughed.
どうする？大好きな東堂くんに見られちゃったね。今は気絶してるけど、目覚めた時に今あったことを忘れている。なんて、都合のいいことにはならないか。
I don't think you're gonna be that lucky.
どうすれば？決まってるでしょ？もうどうしようもないよ。できることはなんにもなし。で、あなたはこの後捕まるの。警察にね。言っておくけど、逃げ出しても無理よ。きっと東堂くんが、今起こったことを警察に話しちゃうでしょうから。で、追い詰められて逮捕。絶望して自殺ってのもいいかもね。 そして怪我が治った東堂くんは、誰かさんと一緒にハッピーエンド。あなたのことなんて、すぐに忘れちゃうかも。
Speaking for myself, I would personally find it very unforgettable for all the wrong reasons, for all the bad reasons. If a girl that I was interested, if I discovered firsthand that a girl that I loved and cherished turned out to be a crazed spree killer, even if I somehow lived to tell the tale, I mean, that's the sort of shit that would haunt me for life. Someone, you say? That someone is a hypocrite and a liar! Like you, right?
そうそう、正解。で、あなたに質問。東堂くんをこのままにしてていいの？放っておくと取られちゃうよ。あの誰かさんに。それで OK？
I can't. Can I? Even though I've suffered so much and struggled through this misery, he kept quiet and did nothing while my happiness was being taken away. I won't admit it. I can't! Because if I do that, I'll...
ごめんね、東堂くん。
My throat was burning hot. As I broke through the skin, it felt like something was about to burst out. A lukewarm sensation surrounded my fingernails. Itchy, 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 itchy! Hey, Toto-kun. I love you. That's why. You see? You and I will be together forever. Well, I was calling for Ushi, but hey, I'll definitely take you.
やめなさい。もうやめるんだ。夏美さん。
The police? That can't be. How did they get here so soon? Yes, listening to the voice in the core of my mind, I was able to return to myself for a moment. As I screamed that, something inside me snapped, and the thread that was holding me together was cut.
お前、私が全部消したはずなのに、どうしてそんなはずな。
Then, my consciousness was swallowed by the darkness, and everything vanished. Oh, Lord. Too little too late, hero. Like, way too late. Definitely could have used your presence like 20 minutes ago. Monday, July 11th, 1983. Inside Kakiuchi Station.
どうぞ、赤坂さん。
あ、すみません。
Monica-san handed me a paper cup full of tea. It better be green. And I let it outside because I couldn't remember how many I had today. You're gonna need all... After what you just dealt with, if I were in your shoes, I would be demanding all the tea. personally. All the tea. She must have noticed my reaction. She sat down on the sofa across from me and said Akasaka-san in a stern voice.
辛いお気持ちはわかりますが、考えても仕方のないことは考えるべきじゃないと思います。
Pretty hard not to dwell on stumbling across a spree killing and damn near attempted suicide.
しっかりしてくださいよ。
ええ、わかってます。自分でもわかっているんですけどね。
Even if I beat myself up over it, time wouldn't turn backwards. I understood that, but I just couldn't help thinking about it. If circumstances were different at that time, on that day, how many more lives could have been saved? We could have protected their happiness.
助けに入った東堂明君も軽傷で済みました。犯人も自傷行為を起こす前に確保。赤坂さんたちが間に合ったから2人分の命が助かったんです。
Wait a minute, who's the second person? Oh wait. Yeah, Akira and Natsumi.
それは間違いのない事実ですよ。
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's good and all. I mean, I'm not trying to dismiss the fact that we definitely accomplished those things, but I mean, at what cost? Natsumi's life is effectively done. She's a spree killer. Her life is ruined. And Kira, well, has to live with what he witnessed, and probably is going to be developing a serious guilt complex over this. As will Chisato, and why am I forgetting your name? Well, point is, it's just, yeah. I feel like the cons are kind of outweighing the pros here, is what I'm trying to say.
それでも、あと少し。
And that's not getting to the fact here that that his higher ups are a bunch of conspiring douchebags. They're okay with covering up for mass murder, just to protect certain people's political aspirations. So I mean, yeah, if I were in Akasaka's shoes, I'd be feeling incredibly cynical of life right now.
1時間、いや、30分でもいい。現場に到着できていたら、彼女の両親は。
赤坂さん、あんまりうぬぼれたこと言うと、お姉ちゃんの時みたいに、私怒りますよ。
Let us be conceited.
あんた神様かよ。ってね。
I don't need to be a god to be conceited. Humans are good at conceit. I was gonna say conception, but that's the wrong word to use here. Well, self-centeredness. I'll just go with that for now because I can't be bothered to really think of all the different synonyms for that at the moment.
Madoka-san.
With a giggle and a gentle smile, Maka-san had a distant look in her eyes like she was reminiscing about the old days. Ah, yes, the old days, where everything was rosy, bright, sunny, more optimistic. And you can smell the posies practically everywhere you went. Those old days. I miss those old days.
お姉ちゃんも毎回殺人事件のたびにそう言っていました。もっと早く解決していればとかなんだかいろいろと。まったくそんな簡単にテレビドラマみたく突然謎がひらめいたり、容疑者が自供したり、理由もなく善人になって改心するかっての。
No, to be fair, I think just swearing to not murder anybody for any selfish reason again is in itself actually a pretty noble intention. But that's just yeah, that never mind.
もっと自己中に割り切って考えれば悩みも少なかっただろうし、きっと幸せになっていた可能性
Yeah,
高かったと思います。
Yeah, well, a lot of us have learned the hard way that the best things in life aren't for free. You gotta sometimes work your ass off to get the best and to get the most happiest things that life has to offer. It's worth it, don't get me wrong, but damn if it isn't hard at times.
クソ真面目に生きたって、バカ正直に頑張ったって、もっと世の中にずるく賢く立ち回って偉くなってる人がいるんだから。
Oh, come on. Integrity's in short supply these days. We need more of it. Let me have some at least.
その分自分が損をするだけじゃないかって、そう思ってました。今でも少しだけそう思います。
But Maka-san raised her head, and she gallantly looked off in the distance.
お姉ちゃんが亡くなった時、たくさんの人が泣いてくれました。今までお姉ちゃんをバカにしたり、悪口言ってた人も、刑事二課の課長なんて、いつも女のくせに偉そうにするなって露骨に嫌ってたのに。
I knew the 2nd Division chief too. Unlike Chief Yamamura of the 1st Division, he was a divisive person who constantly complained to Chief Yamaoki that our activities were disturbing their on-site investigations. Naturally, Chief Inspector Minai must have complained about that all the time. Still, when the word leaked out, it stabbed him right in the heart. My favorite verbal punching bag is dead!
跳ねっ返り娘が、私はこれから誰に闇を言えばいいのだ?
There, see? See? I know this guy, even though I don't know him at all. I must have some superhuman psychic ability or something.
仲の良かった人からも、悪かった人からも、いなくなったことを残念に思ってもらえて。それって、すごいことなんですよね。それだけみんなに頼られて、愛されて、大切な存在だった証なんだから。
We loved her even when we hated her guts.
ええ、そうですよ。間違いなく。
People can't live forever. Don't remind me. They spend their entire lives trying to fulfill their thoughts and dreams, so it's especially heartbreaking when a person dies before they can achieve those dreams. Nevertheless, there's something wonderful about knowing how many people can recognize their contributions, and that those memories will live on in so many people. Happiness and individual wealth disappear after death. However, a person's efforts and accomplishments to improve society, even on a small scale, are protected by the people who remember what they accomplished. Maybe I'm exaggerating and overthinking this, but still, as long as I remember her, I'll never even consider leaving the police force.
私は、ご存知の通り、ダメなやつですから。いっぱい回り道したり、足を踏み外したりして、いろんな人に迷惑をかけてきました。でも、こうして少しは元の道に帰ってくることができたのは、そして、そのお姉ちゃんが目標にしていたお父さんがいたからなんだって、そう思えるんです。だから、私、これから強くなります。たくさんの人が落ち込んだり、くじけそうになった時に、私を見て励みになって、もう一度頑張ろうって思ってもらえるように。そのためには、私も幸せにならなきゃいけませんよね。お姉ちゃんが一番 それを望んでいてくれたんだから。
Marako-san said that with determination as she wiped the tears from her face with a handkerchief.
そうだ。私も。ありがとうございます。落ち込んでいる場合じゃない。できなかった後悔よりも、これからできる努力をすべきなんですよね。
I will join you in that mindset in 5 minutes. I just need 5 more minutes to just mope around for a little bit. Get it out of my system, you know?
私も誰かのためになれるような人間であれるよう頑張りますよ。
Staying here and looking backwards won't accomplish anything. I only need to look forward. Because the future lies ahead.
あ、そうそう。私、実はまだ、カオルさんにも話してないんですけど、できちゃったみたいなんです。
できたって。あ？
Marako-san looked embarrassed as she gently stroked her stomach. And when I realized what that indicated, I instantly began to smile. I could make a really dirty joke here, but I'm not going to.
それはおめでとうございます。きっと山沖所長も喜ばれると思いますよ。
And I'm sure that Tomoe is screeching to the high heavens from beyond, well, within the high heavens, rather, from beyond the grave, at this news.
どうかな。きっと孫みたいだって恥ずかしがるんじゃないかな。
And that is kind of that was actually part of the dirty joke I was thinking about making, actually. Oh, whoops. I couldn't imagine that. A person with passion in their heart won't lose the pleasure of raising children just because they've grown old. Well, for now, it'll be a funny story to pass through the police station. Which should be nice, I suppose. Funny and a bit scandalous, depending on who you ask. No matter what, it'll be better than the dark topics currently dragging us down. Can't disagree with you there.
では、式も間もなくですね。それに、名前を考えなきゃ。
気が早いですよ。でも、女の子だったら、これしかないって決めてるのが、一つだけあるんですけどね。
Let me guess. Tomoe? I didn't even need to ask what the name was. I'm sure she'll be delighted with it. Although I tried to stay composed. I imagined Chief Inspector Minai's face looking bright red as she tried to hide her embarrassment. And it made me smile for a moment.
おや、赤坂さん、ここにいましたか。
Where the hell were you, man? If anybody could have stopped the bloodshed that was occurring, I was positive it could have been you. You're like I'm sure, well, you're probably second best to Akasaka in terms of sheer raw determination and combat ability in this series, but I mean, still, I'm sure you would have found a particularly crafty and quick and efficient way of going about it. You wouldn't have, you certainly would not have wasted any time getting shit done. Plus, it would have been nice to have seen you actually get to play the role of the hero after all the shit that you've been dealing with throughout this entire arc. It would have been cathartic to see you get, maybe catharsis is the wrong word to use here for you in this case, but I mean, well, no, it's not payback either. Well, why must words fail me during moments like these? Seriously, what's wrong with me?
まどかちゃんも？
あ、大石さん。
She bounced on the old guy's dick, and now they've conceived. Spread the word. Ushi-san came into the break room to buy some cigarettes. Maka-san returned his greeting with a smile, then whispered to me, "It's still a secret to everyone." And then she adjusted the hem of her skirt as she stood up.
それじゃあ赤坂さん、またね。クラちゃんもね。
良いお年を。
A faint smell of perfume wafted over as Maka-san left the break room. After watching her leave, Ushi pulled a cigarette from his breast pocket and lit it.
何はともあれ、あの子が元気になってくれてほっとしましたよ。
At least one of us is.
あなたも心配でしたが、彼女もひどく憔悴して、本気でお姉さんの後を追うんじゃないかって気をつけてたくらいでしたからね。
まどかさんは強い女性ですよ。見ない警部の妹さんですから。
まったくです。
Ushi-san strongly nodded in agreement. And as he said that, the look on his face indicated that he had something to discuss.
それで、大石さん、彼女の具合は？
Probably not happy, if I had to guess. Anything but happy.
自傷行為で多少の怪我を負っていますが、捜査に支障はありません。もっとも、私が行った時はそれでよく眠っていましたけどね。
The girl he was talking about was Natsumi Kimiyoshi-san. After securing her from the crime scene of the Kimiyoshi house, she was taken to the police hospital under strict guard. Well, that guard's not going to be enough. Because going by what typically happens, and what typically happens when we reach this particular type of point within these arcs, towards the very, very, very end, somehow, magically, all the security around any survivors of a terrible, terrible event mysteriously fails, and said survivors end up kicking the bucket, often in very mysterious ways. So yeah, I'm not confident that Natsumi is going to be alive for much longer. After securing her from the crime scene of the Kimiyoshi house, she was taken to the police hospital under strict guard. Unfortunately, Kano-san ordered me to prepare a report for the director as soon as possible. So I asked Ushi-san to handle the questioning of Natsumi-san.
そういえば、例の畠山葵もその病院に入院しているんですよね。
That was their freaking name, Hatakeyama. And wait a minute, it's the same hospital that they're. Uh-oh. I think they're both gonna kick the bucket soon. Because that would make it very easy for the conspirators to just kill two birds with one stone, if they're both in one convenient location together.
別室ですがね。君吉夏美ですが、藤田刑事の話では受け答えもはっきりしていて協力的だとのことです。ただ、自分のしでかしたことについては今一つ理解ができていないようなんですよ。
She's either lying or she somehow blocked out the memory of what happened.
殺人のことを覚えていないのですか？
まあ彼女の言うには、気がついたらこの病院でここ数日間の記憶が断片的になくなっているとのことでして、尋問のやり方を何度か変えて試してみても同じ回答です。しかも話が一貫している。意図して嘘を言っているようには見えないんですよ。
何ですかそれは。
I was completely stunned by how much that information seemed to contradict the facts.
犯行現場の状況から考えても、君吉夏美が犯人であることは間違いないはずです。
Well, besides that, I mean, you walked in right as she was on her rampage. I mean, Isn't that enough evidence on its own to get a conviction?
鑑識もそういう判断でしたよね。凶器には彼女の血まみれの手形がしっかり残っていたと。
それなんですがね、赤坂さん。私たち、ひょっとしたら考え違いをしていたんじゃないかって思うんですよ。君吉夏美が感情的に両親や祖母を惨殺したってことをね。
考え違い？どういうことですか？
Ushi-san seemed like he still didn't understand himself. He crushed his cigarette in the ashtray and lit a second one. Then he closed his eyes and carefully chose his words before speaking to me.
いやね、赤坂さんの推理通り、彼女は確かに両親に対して激しい感情を抱き続けていた。で、それを抑制していた薬が切れたことで、バーンとやっちゃった。それは間違いないと思うんですが、二つに分かれていたのは、感情だけの話じゃなかったんじゃないかってね。
感情以外って、例えば
Memories?
つまり、記憶。もっと言えば、人格ってやつも二つに分かれていたんじゃないかって。
So what? You're telling me that her medication also suppressed a form of DID in her?
記憶と人格が二つに。
At the same time, I had a hard time accepting Ushi-san's theory. So am I. It seemed clear enough. If what he said was correct, then Natsumi Kimiyoshi suffered from dual personality disorder, essentially having two independent personalities coexisting in a single body.
そんなバカな。二重人格なんてそれこそ空想の中の話でしょ。一人の人間の中に二つの人格が存在するなんて。
いえね、山沖所長の紹介で精神科医に確認してきたんですが、どうやらあり得るらしいんですよ。
And I would like to see that psychiatrist's credentials.
いわゆる精神疾患の一種ですがね、激しい感情を抱き続ける自分自身を嫌悪するあまり、脳がそれを自分以外の誰かだと判断して分離しちゃうってわけです。実際に事例もあるそうです。
Several reported cases, all of them with questionable credibility. At best. In a sense, you could call it a form of escapism. Every human being has an innate desire to be great, to be the hero or heroine of their own story. They want to see themselves as an ideal individual. However, people are generally a little disappointed by the gap between reality and their ideals, and that can have a detrimental effect on the way they think and act around other people. I just thought of something. That voice that Natsumi was hearing in her head earlier on in the episode. Is that supposed to be the so-called alternate personality? I'm trying to think back to any other instances earlier on in the story where it seemed like as though some dark entity was speaking in Kimiyoshi's mind, and, well, on one hand, you could probably argue that there were probably signs of this as early as the last arc. But how exactly was I supposed to deduce that they were more than just simply dark thoughts that she was having with herself? I mean, we all have those. I mean, we all have those where if we're feeling particularly angry or upset or about something and we just stop for a minute to contemplate something really dark or violent or what have you, I mean, or just simply plain old angry thoughts. Maybe somebody said or did something to you to really upset you, and you're just not plain happy about it. I mean, you can think all kind of insults towards them, or what have you. But you don't generally act on those because you know that if you do, well, consequences for both yourself and other people. They will happen if you just acted on any negative impulse that you feel. That's why when we're younger, we learn to develop self-control towards our own impulses. So we don't do reckless shit like that and just end up hurting ourselves and everybody around us. So, but bottom line, I thought that those thoughts that she was experiencing earlier on this episode and any other time that she monologued to herself like that at any earlier point on the story were just simply her just entertaining some really dark thoughts here because she's just simply not in a good mental state. Again, how was I supposed to know that that was actually a full-blown, completely separate personality that was actually speaking to her? And then the fact that you introduce this medication in this part of the story too, while doing nothing to allude to it in the previous arc. It's kind of feeling like as though some of these plot points are just kind of being made up as the writer goes along. Or at least they weren't properly foreshadowed. I don't know. Something about the execution and or the theories being proposed to me, something's just not adding up here to me. I wish I could explain it better, but that's honestly how I feel. However, people are generally a little disappointed by the gap between reality and their ideals, and that can have a detrimental effect on the way they think and act around other people. Still, if that distance becomes too severe, the person can refuse to accept reality and isolate theirself from society by hiding under their ideals. That's escapism. And that can create an individual persona. In other words, in order to live up to their ideals and rid theirself of their jealousy, hatred, malice, etc., they can decide that those dark emotions belong to a separate entity. As a result, all those negative thoughts and memories are thrust upon this other person that they subconsciously constructed, and they can enjoy the satisfaction that what remains meets their ideals.
まあ、それならまだ可愛いもんなんですがね。
Yeah, I agree.
問題は押し付けたもう一人にもちゃんと自我があるってことです。ですから、黒い方が逆に白い方を偽物と決めつけたら、マイナス感情を持つことが理想的だと考えるようになる。それを繰り返しているうちに、いつしか記憶と人格も全く別物に分離しちゃうんだそうです。で、ここで出てくるのが例の薬です。以前は君吉夏美の激しい感情をその薬で抑えつけているって話でした。しかし彼女が記憶と人格を2つ所有していたのだとしたら問題は変わってくる。もともと欧米では禁止されているほどの強い薬だそうですからね。で、その薬ってやつが黒い方の衝動を解消する効能ではなく、むしろ白い方で溜まりそうになっていた衝動を黒い方に押し合って、
So what you're telling me is that this medication gave her a form of DID. That's what you're telling me? It's one hell of a fucking drug.
見えないように蓋をする役割を果たしていたのだとしたらどうなりますか？
It would take a life of its own and come spilling out with violent vengeance, right?
黒に溜まった感情はそして何かのきっかけで人格が反転した時 それらが一気に爆発する。
大雨の時のダムと同じです。ですからそのダムが一度決壊すれば、鉄砲水で全て押し流してしまう。しかも爆発したのは黒い方ですから、白い方は反転している時のことは全く覚えていない。それどころか、自分が殺した相手に対し殺意を持っていたことも知らないまま。そう考えると、今までの辻褄が合うんですよ。
じゃあ、あの薬は治療薬なんかじゃなく、むしろ。
So, let me get this straight. So, in order for this whole thing to make sense, that would necessitate that the Natsumi that we've been seeing for most, if not the entirety of this story, especially ever since the Great Himizawa disaster occurred, was this other dark personality. Is it like, okay? I'm trying my best to understand what's being told me here. Let me just read this thing. Okay. Damn. But I don't remember I don't remember at any point earlier on in the story where it seemed like as though there were where Natsumi was experiencing any noticeable gaps in her memory. I certainly don't remember. I don't think I wait. What about the last arc? Maybe there might have been a couple instances in the last arc of there being gaps in her memory. I wish I could remember with absolute certainty off the top of my head. Either way, it's just this.
Hitoを鬼に変える悪魔の薬ですよ。
After hearing those words from Ushi-san, I felt completely aghast and lost my voice. Then, could this medicine have a larger role in the tragedies we've seen thus far? And who created this medicine? Where did it come from? Unraveling one mystery only led to another mystery, taunting and laughing at us.
以上です。ご協力ありがとうございました。
あ、はい。
何か必要なものがありましたら遠慮なく言ってください。食事はあと2時間後に病院食が出ますので。
Natsumi looked up at the female detective standing next to her with a shy and embarrassed look on her face. Then,
お手洗い行ってもいいですか？
え？ああ、どうぞ案内するわ。
Natsumi deeply bowed her head while saying thank you very much, then hopped off the bed and put on her slippers. I wonder if she thought up if Natsumi has thought up some kind of a dual personality alibi after being arrested and the whole time she was being processed by the police, she was just thinking of just of all the right things to say that could make everybody around her believe that she might be suffering from DID, when in reality she's just feeding them bullshit, and she's like, I don't know, maybe she's trying to give herself into some kind of insanity plea or something. Again, something about this just does not seem right to me, even if I can't quite put my finger on it. As I watched that, Detective Fujita and Detective Hanada couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. Oh, wait a minute. Natsumi bowed her head while saying thank you very much, then hopped off the bed and put on her slippers, and for that.
なあ、花田。
なんだ。
本当にあの子が、両親と祖母を殺したのかな。
Of course, both of them knew it was an undeniable fact. Still, it was hard to believe that a pretty, youthful girl with those big, soft eyes could dirty her hands with murder.
もっと凶暴な感じとか、血が凍ってるような冷たい印象だったら、こっちも遠慮なくガンガン出ることができるんだけどな。あんな小動物みたいな女の子だと、調子が狂うよ。
人は、見かけによらないってことさ。お前の奥さんでも、本当のところはわからんぞ。
You implying something there, Hanada?
バカ野郎。そりゃお前も同じだろうが。
人間の正体なんて、本人でもない限りわかるわけねえか。
Yeah, that's a very depressing existential truth.
おいおい、冗談だっての。奥さんと喧嘩でもしたのか？
Then, Fujita glanced at his wristwatch and cursed to himself. They had another 2 hours before they could switch with Uushi and Nakasaka. For now, the two of them had time to kill, so they decided to chat about upcoming investigation activities and various other topics. I entered the private room and locked the door behind me. Since I came to use the bathroom, none of the police officers followed me inside. I didn't have any particular reason for coming here. I just wanted to spend some time alone. My mind was still foggy. I couldn't really remember what happened in my body at all. So this whole dual personality thing is actually real. What am I even doing inside this hospital in the first place?
病院嫌いなんだけど。
I thought back to 3 years ago. I was hospitalized for anemia back then, and spent 2 months here, 2 months there, undergoing all sorts of tests before they let me go. Come to think of it, what kind of testing was it? I can't remember much of anything about my hospitalization. At any rate, I wonder why Mom isn't coming. Dad probably can't make it because he's busy with work, but Mom and Grandma should be able to come. Clearly nobody's told you what happened. There's no use thinking about it. If I stay in here too long, the detectives will start to worry. Actually, why are there detectives in my hospital room in the first place? As soon as I opened the door to the private room, I immediately froze when I discovered a humanoid shadow standing in front of me. Looking more closely, it was a girl wearing cute pajamas. She innocently smiled as she tilted her head and looked up at me.
あなたは
Let me guess. Aoi?
お姉ちゃんがそうなんだね。私が何を？そうなんでしょ？お姉ちゃん、パパとママを殺したんでしょ？え？
Suddenly, this innocuous girl was able to say such a terrible thing without a second thought. For a moment, I doubted my ears. What is this girl? This killing she just mentioned. Who?
別に隠さなくてもいいよ。お姉ちゃんって人殺しなんだよね。何を言って。私もお姉ちゃんと同じだよ。パパとママのことずっと前から大嫌い。だっていつもああしろこうしろってうるさくて おじいちゃんが来てからは喧嘩ばっかり。そのせいで私、友達からもいじめられて、お化け屋敷に住んでるお化けだって言われて、それでも私が我慢してるのに、健太郎は全然泣き止まないし、家族って邪魔だよね。それこそ殺さない限り。だから殺したんでしょ？お姉ちゃんが。でなきゃここに入院するわけないもんね。たくさんの刑事さんたちに見張られて、いろいろ調べられたり検査されたりしてね。そうなんでしょ？違う。私は怖がることなんてないよ。だってお姉ちゃん何度も頭の中で繰り返してたじゃない？人を殺す夢、真っ赤な血の中で楽しそうに笑い転げる夢。
先生からさっき連絡がありました。あなた、私たちに内緒でアルバイトをしていたんだって？
Wait a minute, this is from the previous arc. Are you telling me that Natsumi is now getting flashes of events from the previous arc, and just like how some of the main cast did in the main story towards the end? When I heard that, I froze. I knew it. That teacher broke her promise after all. She told me, I won't tell your parents. And I believed her.
どうなの、夏美？黙っていてもわからないでしょ？どういう理由があるのか知らないけど、親に無断でアルバイトなんて、一体何を考えてるの？
私だって。
お小遣いだってちゃんとあげてるでしょ。どうしてお金が必要だったのか言えば、お母さんだってちゃんと相談に乗るのに。隠れてコソコソしてたら、まるで悪いことしてるみたいに見えるじゃない。まさかあなた、佐伯さんや牧村さんに影響されて、変なお金の使い方を覚えたんじゃないでしょうね。いけませんよ、無駄遣いは。お父さんやおばあちゃんは甘いから気にはしないんでしょうけど、お母さんは許しませんからね。ねえ夏美、お母さんはあなたのことを思って注意してるんだからね。あなたも君吉の家の娘として、ちょっと聞いてるの？夏美。
The very next moment, the growing pain in my heart suddenly receded, and my mind cleared up. I wasn't angry. I wasn't afraid, or sad, pained, ashamed, thankful, depressed, or anything. All those scattered emotions mixed together and gathered into a single unit. Who? Who asked me to stay at this house? When did I ever ask to be a member of the Kimiyoshi family? And why would I ever want to be from Hinamizawa? Pat. My rural upbringing has forced me to endure bloody hardship since I came to this town. Thanks to that disaster, I've had to make painstaking efforts to conceal the fact that I'm from Hinamizawa. But that wasn't the problem. After all my effort, it was Hinamizawa that destroyed everything, wasn't it? What are the three families? What is Orishiro-sama? What is the curse? Hinamizawa didn't provide anything for me. He gave me that terrible disaster. That's all. If only I wasn't from Hinamizawa, I wouldn't have felt inferior and insecure. I could have acted normally around everyone. playing with my friends like a normal person, trying to improve my grades like a normal person, and falling in love like a normal person. Everyone from Hinamizawa is terrible! All those people drinking that water, breathing that air, living their lives, and ultimately trampling on all my effort to secure my own happiness.
だったらもういらないこんなもの。すべてなくなれ。消え去ってしまえ。夏美、どこ行くの？まだ話は終わって。やめなさい夏美。あなた何を考えてるの？
Wait a minute, I don't remember this happening.
やめ。
春子、どうしたんだい？変な叫び声を上げて。
Hold up. If this shit actually happened in the last episode, then how do you explain the last no, not the last episode, the last arc? Then how the hell were her parents alive at all during the last few episodes of that arc? Are you telling me that was all just some kind of weird delusion that she dreamt up in her head? That most of the events of the last arc, towards the last couple episodes of it, were all a delusion. That they weren't real. Is that what you're telling me?
ただいま。なんだこの匂い。おい、春子。一体これは。
My heart was beating against the inside of my chest hard enough to shatter it. What did I see just now? Was that a dream? Or was that the wish I was always hoping for?
ね？逃げるなら今だよ。逃げるってどうして？だってお姉ちゃんまだ殺し足りないって顔してるよ。まだいるんでしょ？殺したい人。
Oh. Come to think of it, I remembered. Yeah. I just remembered. How could I forget? I'm such an idiot. That stupid detective interrupted my precious plan before I was finished. Well then, what am I going to do about him? Kill him? Yeah, good fucking luck with that. No. That's no good. Absolutely not. I won't kill Taro-kun. Because I don't want to give him another reason to hate me. In that case, who? Who should I take with me? I've decided who it should be. Even though you sustained significant injuries, you're still out there. You, who worked so hard to take my happiness from me. Who, Chisato? You! That's right. You're still out there. I am not even going to try to verbalize whatever the hell that is.
Kimiyoshi-san? どうしました? Kimiyoshi-san? しまった。すぐに署に連絡、急げ！
みんな死んじゃえ。
Oh, come on. There's still more? There's still more to go? Jesus Christ. Well, I don't know what else to say other than I guess this roller coaster ride that we're on still isn't quite done with us yet. Well, if I'm right about who she's gonna go after next, then Chisato might wanna button down the hatches and brace yourself and protect your neck, whatever you do, because there was at least one person who completely ignored my advice on that, and they paid for it. Well, you know what? At this point, I'm just gonna stop trying to predict when this thing is gonna end, because clearly, in any capacity. Because clearly, it'll be over when it's over. Whenever that's gonna be. It could be the next episode, it could be 10 whole parts from now. I'm just done. I am just done trying to guess the approximate length of this thing, based on how the story has been progressing. Because clearly, that just has not been working out for me at all throughout this entire arc. And usually it does. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of the Higurashi console arcs. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and also feel free to hit that like button. And I guess I will see you next time. Take care.